All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for coming out. Welcome to Creative Mornings, Virginia Beach. I'm Kate Pittman, your host. And with me today up here is our other generous host, Tessa Hall-Duquette, and we're sharing our last morning here in the garage. And we'll be moving next door. We're graduating. The Creative Foundation is next door now, and so we will be meeting there moving forward. Just one door over, still a garage door, but we hope you'll come back and join us. So thank you, Tessa, for hosting us for the first year and a half. It's been a trip, right? Okay, all right, thank you. I'm going to invite up Sunny with the Virginia Beach Arts and Humanities Commission to come read our theme.
Good morning, everyone. Our theme for August is NOMAD. It was chosen by Ulaanbaatar chapter in Mongolia and illustrated by Oyuna Bold. Some people feel compelled to travel from place to place, to live outside the confines and constraints of a permanent address. Others have no choice but to leave home and search for a better life. A nomad embraces discomfort, welcomes the unknown, and sees every detour as a new adventure. Have you heard the call of the open road? Ever dream of being a digital nomad working from exotic locales, crossing the borders and time zones to discover fresh inspiration and share worthy views? But following your nomadic spirit doesn't require collecting stamps in your passport. The act of creating is your own journey. So meander through your ideas, roam between executions. The most important thing is to take the first step. It doesn't matter where it leads, because the joy is suddenly finding yourself somewhere unexpected. Whether you're racking up frequent flyer miles or navigating a change in your career, remember that motion fuels imagination. Wander, wonder, repeat.
Great. All right, and hopefully you all got your creative manifesto. Rachel's going to come up and lead us in our creative manifesto.
Sweet. All right, together, everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty, and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections, in learning from others, in hugs and high fives. We bring together people who are driven by passion and purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome.
Great job. Okay, and now we'll have Val come up and introduce our speaker. I'm so excited to have Gabe with us today. Gabe has been behind the scenes helping out with projects all around the Vibe District for the last 10 years, and I'm excited for him to share his story. So Val, come on in.
For almost 20 years, Gabe Niles, aka Bugman, aka DJ Sub Ladies, has traveled for creative gigs both in Virginia and throughout the US. Hear his story of personal exploration and realization from a life spent traveling from one gig to another. Working with national musicians, large festivals, and local creatives, Gabe has built a network of professionals dedicated to making space for diversity and creativity. Welcome, Gabe.
Thank you. What's up, ladies? How y'all doing? Gentlemen. Yes, my name is Gabe Niles. I guess we're going to be talking about Nomad. Sonny, that was a great prompt. That was really good. It's going to make it a lot easier for us to start this. All right, well, who's here for the free coffee? That was it? No, I'm just playing. But can I get a water, though? Can I get that? A water from somebody? A water? All right, so I guess we just start from a story point of being a nomad. I would like to thank whoever, I think Rachel did, threw my name in the bucket for NOMAD, were very aware of my life as far as just like creative explorations and music and stuff. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, so overall, like, I could give a background. I grew up in Virginia Beach, from this area through and through, and I came up with not much of a musical background, but I was just always around music, whether it be church or my dad's records and stuff like that. So I just always was akin to it. But naturally growing up, that's when the Neptunes, Timbaland, and Teddy Riley and stuff, they had put a big stamp in this area, and they were affecting the national, stage straight out of Virginia Beach and still being in Virginia Beach. So naturally, as a kid, you're aware of that, and that kind of just inspired me to like go through and dabble with music and make it a reality. It made it a reality that I can do that fresh off of rolling down the hill of Mount Trashmore into, rocking the world. So the reality of that window to actually be seen is actually very powerful, because I'm pretty sure it moved and changed a lot of people's lives. So naturally, that's where I am. And then I started making music, and then, making beats, turned into doing remixes of songs. And, I got to college at ODU. And then when I went to ODU, hung out with the band kids, and the band kids are like such an assortment of just weird people, man. I promise you guys. Like, so it's just like, all kinds of foreigners, and then they hang out with like the rugby team and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, whatever. But they all like eclectic music, and when they had parties, they needed a DJ. So I was like, well, I'm a DJ, and I'm just act like I'm a DJ. Actually, I ain't had no equipment or anything, but I just wanted to play my beats, like force it on them. So that's where I was starting to just be like, all right, I'm a DJ. So then from there, it just kept growing, but my focus, and still to this day, I'm a music producer. So I start working with local artists in the area, going out to open mics, just looking for anybody to like hop on my beats, record, start my grand Grammy super producer journey. So all that ended up naturally putting me in a lot of ragtag studios and stuff like that, like, just makeshift things and making music all over the place. So already naturally signing up for beat battles and all these things brought me around to numerous scenes and areas within the 757. And just being able to have like some kind of art that naturally, amplifies when you collab with another artist, that already is such a advantageous like thing for you to grow it through, because it's like, it's music. Usually somebody has numerous people on these projects, so you could connect with like anybody off of just a similarity of like a idea, a thing that you want to get done. Like, I was in a bedroom with a 48-year-old lady that played the flute, and I'm like 19 years old. I'm like, she just like ripping the flute, cause that's where her studio setup was. And I'm like, when you're talking about it, you're not thinking about it, but when you reflect that idea, you're like, that was kind of crazy. Like, I don't know this lady at all. But yeah, now that even sounds even crazier than I just thought about it. It was a real flute, no innuendos. But it was like, that's a real story too. And like, it's funny because like from there you go and you're hanging out with like your cousins, and they just freestyling for hours, and just, it's like literally every night it was just like something crazy. But it was like a hunger where I'm like, I was striving to get my sound to be different. And so that puts you with just random people, because you want something and styles to to diversify your sound, set it apart, your art basically. So you're basically looking for like materials, paint, medians and stuff like that. So like, just being with that, you meet so many people. And when you meet with that, like every interaction, you go into it where it's just kind of like not necessarily a goal, but like a mission to, strive for what your direction is. It's not like, okay, I'm going here to make a hit record. I'm going here to do it. It was literally just a mission like, I got to keep moving until something happens. It's not necessarily like a point by point goal. It was more of a broad mission. Like at any given moment, like that was my mindset. Anything could happen out of something, so do everything. So then that's when I just started just doing everything. You should see me everywhere out here. And with that being said, it's just kind of like, I really feel like, a nomad has that kind of desire where it's just like a yearning for like, I wouldn't say like unsettled, but it's more like just like, I gotta do this. This is my makeup. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just what it was. It's just, that was like my mindset where if I wasn't moving, I won't do nothing. And that's kind of like, you could say that could be a toxic thing, but when you got youth to do that, you better do it. You know what I'm saying? And with youth, it's not even just like talking about the energy of your body. It's talking about like the effort that you even got in your head to even act on ideas and stuff like that. It's not necessarily like a age or physical kind of thing. It's just about your youthful creative spirit, your ambitions. Like, being naive, like you gotta strive to stay naive sometimes because it's like a world that just attacks. Like it attacks that naiveness. I don't know how to explain it, but I'm still super unrealistic, and I'm grateful for that because life would be so boring if I was realistic. Overall, though, like I was talking about the prompt of nomadic lifestyles and stuff, that's such a great professional, scientific sounding name, but I just call it gypsy life, you know what I'm saying? Certified couch surfer, you know what I'm saying? Like, a hustler, all that, you know what I mean? Go getter, all that. But the thing is, it's like, how bad do you want it? And what do you want? So, overall, to circle back down to why I'm even sitting to this chair, after, meandering around the land for years in search of like, materials and stuff like that, I ended up running into, a friend of mine said Hughes and Kid A, and we finally started linking in and making music, and this is like right before the whole blog era. And blog eras was like, blogs were, you remember Blogspot, guys? It was like, I don't know how to explain it, but it was everybody's little journal. And this is where like everybody became like tastemakers and opinions. So that was a great platform for, to connect with anybody around the world at that point. Because if they put you on a blog, and then somebody over here. So, now that you have another point, not a goal, but a point to get somewhere. Now it's just like that alone, that dot took me from local to global. Whether you're not globally known, but if somebody in Scandinavia and Australia can listen to my music, then I'm global, you know what I'm saying? Local, you know what I'm saying? Straight up. It don't matter how many people, you know what I'm saying? But if you're making something that's being received around the planet, then you're global. And whoever gets to sit on the moon and look at a picture, you'd be universal at that time, I guess, or galactic. But, it's just anything like that. But so when that dot came, we started grinding out, making music, and then, like, I was remixing, like, Justice, and this is, like, the whole, like, electro movement. So it was, like, the energy was in New York. So New York was a lot of China bus stories going up to New York, man. That place is a circus on wheels, literally. And that part alone was the adventure. Because you got to be like, when you was talking about being uncomfortable, like, you know, this life of the nomad, it's not about like right now, it's about later. So what is like comfortability? Comfortability is always just like now type, like now. Even the idea of you being comfortable later is like about being now, like stable, because you're gonna be stable. So it was like, I didn't have all that. I was just crashing out. I'm talking about going up to New York, because I had family up there. I go to New York with $15 in my pocket. That's when you could actually live from 15, when a slice of pizza was 99 cents instead of, you know, $9.99. But the thing is, it's like, I was just out there forcing myself to learn the subways, going to read magazines. Y'all remember magazines? Is that still a thing? Yeah, they had like magazine stores and stuff. So you could go in there, and that was like our access to the outer world too, because you get to read articles. And that just kept fueling it. So we just out there going hard with that. Made some very prominent blogs with our music. End up catching the ear of A-Track. DJ A-Track is a prominent DJ. He has a label called Fool's Gold. They caught wind of me and Seth Hughes' music, and then they start flying us around, flying us to New York. So that's the first time, like, I get to, and mind you, I'm still at ODU, and I get to finally be like, yeah, Mom, I think I'm gonna drop out because I'm about to miss the finals. And she was just like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get flown out here, flown there, flown there. And then she just like, doing what? Because I never even told her like I was like doing like being seriously a musician, even though she always did back me. She put a battery in my back, bless my mom. But it was funny because that's when I knew right there. I was like, I knew it. Like, I knew it. So then, you know, just getting flown out where you ain't got to pay for your own flight and people putting you up and stuff. It was definitely like another thing that I was ready to sacrifice any stability to pursue that, because I know stability is going to be within wherever it's taking me. So that was the true beginning of the nomadic life, because then I was just like, I bailed out on school, and I was living in Ghent in an apartment, and I'm like, if I'm not going to ODU, I don't need to have an apartment in Ghent. And then I don't need a job to support that and just be like stagnant, enjoying rent. Like, that's another thing. That's why I say you lose your naiveness when the bills start coming and shit. You know what I mean? Like, man, I need to stay home and enjoy my rent or my mortgage. You know what I'm saying? I ain't going nowhere. For real. That would tear you down. Like, I ain't going nowhere. For what? But nah, it's true though. So I slashed all that out the way. I was like, so now I'm just a balloon floating in the wind across America with nowhere to go. But at the end of the day, it was cool, man. Like, you meet so many people, and like every interaction in person that I did come across and met, I treated them the same, because I was just always like, you never know, this could be the person that introduced you to the person, this the person. So communication in your relationships is number one in everything. Like, so just like, I just start getting out there and just being like the little bratty kid. You know, I'm like, at this time, like 20, 21, and I'm just like yapping, like everywhere I go, like asking questions and, you know, really breaking down that whole ego thing about like, you know, I'm too good to be asking and stuff. So then that's when Twitter started coming out, and I would start just going through like, once you get like a real meeting with a DJ or somebody of like clout and importance on Instagram and Twitter, you know, people see that. So Twitter added this feature where it's like followed by. So then like, you know, I got A-Track, somebody to follow me. So anybody else that followed this prominent figure, when you go to their page and say something, they'd be like, oh, if he's followed by this guy. So then I just start crashing out in everybody's friends list. I'm like, yo, what up? And letting them assume that I know everything. And, you know, it's crazy because, like, you had to find so many, like, strategies. Like, you had to create your own shot. You know what I mean? Like, set yourself up for anything to happen at any moment. So it just kind of like, just even simple techniques of like Twitter, like when you look at somebody's like friends who they're following, the earliest person, the first person is the first person they follow, and it goes in chronological order. So I used to just go all the way down to the bottom and find everybody's closest friends and befriend them, and then I hit up that person. It was like maniacal, evil genius type shit. And it worked all the time. So then, like, whenever I travel and I'm randomly in Florida, because I took a Greyhound for 29 days. It was 29 hours, but it might as well been. It felt like I was on the Oregon trail in that jank, because it was like every time, whatever, we ain't going this could turn into a whole Greyhound bashing, and that was only from one experience. That's what's so crazy. But just being down there, I'm like, oh man, this party, mind you, I'm like 21, so I ain't got nobody down there. Well, my pop stayed down there, so I was at his crib, but I'm like trying to find out. So then I went into my bag of Twitter people I don't really know, but that we grew up with. And I'm just asking around, I'm linking up, and now I'm like hanging out with like the Fools of Gold cats, and just like, and it was like, dang, like the power of that. But then like people are also nomads in those, so you could tell them that you met in Toronto, they're just gonna believe it. Like, oh yeah, I was messed up that night. Oh yeah. And then they just see who also knows you, and like obviously a lot of things in that industry is like if you're in the same room with somebody, you obviously must be equally or a peer with them. So the smaller the room that you can get in with these people is like naturally, that's where you're supposed to be. I mean, you got in the room. So, just building through those techniques, the love bug struck my boy, said he ended up falling in love with a lady. And moved in with her in another state. And then that was like our whole thing that we had momentum. It was just like, all right, back to drawing board. Because, they were like, you need to be in New York. Because at that point, it's like, you're still in Virginia. And they're like, well, we can make more things happen for you if you're right under our nose in New York. And he chose love. I'm not mad at him. It didn't work out. But I ain't mad at it though. Nah, she's cool though. She was cool. But was cool. Anyways, so that popped my balloon. I come crashing back down in Norfolk, you know what I'm saying? Safety nets and all that. No safety net. I told you I cut it all off. So now I'm like landed on the couch in my sister's crib. But it's great because my sisters wanted to go to school and work, and they couldn't necessarily afford babysitters and stuff. So I was like, well, I'll babysit, and I'll just make beats all day and watch these kids, and y'all do y'all thing. And so it was a symbiotic relationship. But I mean, equally so, I got to, be with my nieces and nephews and being cool. So the coolest uncle in the world. But yeah, it worked out. And then while I'm doing that, I'm still doing events out here. I'm just going around, and, everybody my family at this point, they just think I'm crazy because they don't know what I do. I'm like, we all got a family member who's like, what do they even do? Like, they just be, they doing everything, but they don't like know what they do. They got a new wife every time you see them or something like that. Like, what? But that's who I became, I guess. But I was doing that, and just through that, I ended up running into Sonny. I'm in a band called Sonny and Gabe, and we do some things, and we end up just meeting each other through mutual friend, and we just started making music for no purpose, and it felt good, sounded good, and then like continue that, it ends up getting on a prominent blog that's powered by Complex. It's called Pigeons and Planes. And they kind of gave us our rollout. Then next thing you know, now we're back getting flown to Austin, Southwest. And just all these things starting to accumulate again. I found another wave. I'm back on it. Created the wave, found it, whatever you want to call it. But now I'm back on it. But now I'm like more equipped from the last time. So it's good. Now we're going full force. So now this one is a different situation because now we have all these opportunities, and now it's like management is starting to hit us up, like people that want to manage. So then we had to go through the trials and tribulations of bad managers. Like the only way you know a bad manager is if you give them a whole year of your life to find out that you're a bad manager. So just always that. So then we were still, I don't know how, but I was getting a lot of stuff shaken, but the management wasn't, and just the constant in and out with management kind of give you a little stagnant. So then that, like, I started learning how to do a lot of things myself as, instinctually, just connecting the network. But, you always looking for the next level. What is the next level? The next level is usually like, somebody that's going to drop hundreds and thousands of dollars in your pocket, of course. So, like, how do you get to that so you can support all your dreams? And usually it's management. And that's where we saw, because it was just like, they could do the opposite, or you start losing money. You're like, man, I ain't signed up for this. What? You know what I'm saying? So then that kind of waned out a little bit. And while we were still trying to figure out, like, okay, what's the next move? I'm still doing, like, events. And at this time, I'm, like, DJing a lot. So the DJing things definitely kept my name very, prevalent with venues and, DJing museums and stuff like that, Hermitage. They definitely locked in, and they let us use, they did a Burning Man exhibition. I think this was 2018 when they first did it. But they let us, like, perform there because the whole thing, Sonny and Gabe, was time travelers. So we did all these things, like just working with museums and not everything being a club. And then out here, are there any clubs? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to come out here and perform in a Fridays or something like that, like a restaurant. No, a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to move. I got to clean the table and then move it. You know what I'm saying? Bus boys. Bus boy. I should have been DJ Bus Boy now, I think about it. Cause like, what kind of jank? This is the table I got to use. This is a puddle of high C on there laid out. But anyways, it's just like, that's what we got to work with out here. You got to create everything. So naturally, how bad do you want it? You know what I'm saying? So, I went through that thing, and then this guy named Shelly, Drum, he ends up coming to like an open mic night that I did at a Latin bar, and met him there. And this is the point where I say you never know who you meet. This was 2011. I run into this guy, and like, I was in an open mic, and he's like sings, and he's like killing it. And my sister was like, yo, you need, out of all the people you work with music, you need to talk to that guy. And I wasn't even that impressed by it. I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll talk to him. So I go to talk to him, he's just like, yo, you doing this event? You give me $100, I'll record your event. He didn't even want to talk about music. I was like, man, get out of my face, man. So that was like 2011. And then, like, let's just roll around at 2014. He saw like the Sonny and Gabe stuff I told you about. And he hit me up. I didn't even know who was hitting me up. Like, he still had my number from then. And, when you answer the phone, you just, like, pretend like you know who it is and you're trying to figure out who it is. Well, I never figured out who it is, and I just end up scheduling a whole meeting and all this stuff. I don't know who I was just talking to, but I'm about to find out in a couple of days. So then I found out it's him. And back in the day, like, if you, like, my polite way is saying no, because I mix and engineer my own music and stuff. And he's like, I got a project. I want you to mix and engineer it. And my nice way of saying no is just saying like a big price. Because if you want to do it, then I'm getting paid to do it. But also it's a polite, like, scram, you know what I'm saying? But, back in the day, especially with local artists, I just said $400. And he was like, all right, I'll hit you back. And then he hit me back and was like, I got it. I was like, damn. So So I'm like, send me the project. I'm going to listen to it. And, just life is just life. And, nomad life was life at that time. So then I'm like, it took me months to finally listen to it. And I listened to it because, and he was very persistent. He was hitting me up every day that I didn't listen to it. But then it was so bad that he started sending messages from other numbers, calling from like trying to catch you. So then it became this whole cat and mouse game. And he finally texted me, he was just like, I feel away, like I sent you my life's work. Like this is something that could change my life, and you're just sitting there just mishandling, you're gonna steal it and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, yeah, I'm tripping. And also I'm like, man, I ain't gonna steal yours, man, whatever, man. I don't need to steal nothing. Nice. I listened to it and it's incredible. I was like, what the? I'm like, all right, who's producing your stuff? Who made your stuff? He's like, I did. And I'm like hearing stuff like, it sounded like some old classic boom bop hip hop that like MF Doom that goes into like NERD / Lenny Kravitz with a gospel singer on it. Like it was crazy. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna mix this one song and I'm gonna send it to my plug at Pigeons and Planes, and we'll see what they say. And this is like December 2013. So the Pigeons and Planes guy, the blog guy's like, this is incredible. This is Virginia. You guys are crazy out there. I was like, right? I know I wasn't tripping. So me and Drum ends up, I'm just like, don't worry about the $400. Let's just work. So February 2014, we start working officially February 2014, 3 years after I had met him. 3 years since he tried to hustle me with $100 to record. But honestly, he was really good at it too. But let's say this is my reality. So February 2014, we just started working on music. By October 2014, we were getting flown around the country to all the labels, to all these places. Then January 2015, we're at Rick Rubin's. So less than a year. It's like less time to even make a baby. Our whole lives and worlds was just flipped on his head. Like, what in the hell is going on right now? However, it happened so fast, but you can't forget that all that work you put in. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like it happens fast, but all of that is that. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like my reality out here, the reality of you could have already met the person and the collaborator that will flip your whole world upside down, and y'all just ain't connect yet, as you should. But sometimes it's like the timing thing. So that's like the rare thing. So, I always leave myself open and available to receive more dots to connect. You know what I'm saying? You could make a more detailed picture with more dots to connect instead of just being like a idea. So with that being said, that ended up escalating everything to where, I'm the sole executive producer of this, and Drum is a great guy, because all these labels meetings that he was doing, he was just like, well, this is my executive producer, and I'm not signing a deal until you pay him on the side, without even looping him into that. So he looked out for me just off of how much that we had made this thing together. So I got to use that to get my own pub deal situation to where I get to bring back Sonny and Gabe and not have no rules and be our own manager and have some representation through agency, to where now we're getting Coca-Cola gigs and all these other things without a manager, because we are the managers, because I had to go through so many bad management, and then also have Drum side to see and learn the industry side, to where you get to be yourself. So now I'm like, everything's rocking, everything's going good. I got to work with many celebrities and legends, and I still can't believe it, but one time it was like we were talking in my kitchen, And like we're just all drunk, and I'm like, man, I know Erykah Badu. They're like, you don't know Erykah Badu? I swear, I got her number. No, you don't. I called it just because I'm being drunk and crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. And she answered, and I'm like, yo, I'm tripping. I'm sorry, then I hang up, but it's just like like little things like that. It's like my average random day in Ghent in my kitchen, and like for that to be able to be a thing is like that nomadic feature that y'all say. You could be here, 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 but you know, being here where everything started, where you get to make everything out the mud, it equips you with everything to be somewhere else. Because if you could do something here, then you could do something anywhere pretty much. But here, more than anything, it's the people that are that's the biggest trade out here. It's not trade, let me say, like that is like the true gem. Like, I don't know, what you call them things, an ore. You know what I'm saying? What do you call them things when you mine something? Like the people are like the ores that could be brass and diamonds, and like everybody could be another bedazzling resource around the world. I don't want to call people resources, but we are. So anyways, just being here and being able like to reach out in every direction like that to where, you know, it's being seen and noticed by people here. And it's important to come back here and put it back into the soil, because this is where I want to grow. So me being here and still being able to do something elsewhere, it's like I look at it as being an example to do it. But also building this out here, and I've worked with a lot of people in here to do that, and they have definitely dedicated their lives to do the same thing I have, because that's just who we are. So now that we are back and I'm out here doing all this stuff everywhere, now when I'm back home, the price goes up. Now you get to be like, all right, you want me to come to your event? The price gonna go up. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I gotta be a busboy. What'd you call it? So like that's when I start being able where I didn't have to like grind so hard to where I was doing gigs that I didn't want to. Now I could do intentional gigs and doing my own thing. So, you know, a lot of I love doing things on museums and stuff like this. So like that gave me a more opportunity to, you know, dive into the process of actually providing for other people, to be a magnet, to meet more people, to keep making connections to possibly go other places, you know what I mean? So it's basically like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is more valuable in a big city than Virginia Beach, you feel me? Because it's like, what are you going to be swinging on out here? Nothing. You're going to be swinging like 2 inches off the ground. But I mean, so if I want to be Spider-Man, we got to build some more buildings. You know what I mean? That's basically what I'm saying. Like, you got to build buildings out here. And overall, after all of that couch surfing and hustling and gypsy lifing and stuff, it has led me to this chair to talk to you guys. So I don't know. Does anybody have some questions or anything?
Very good. I did not know you were funny. Great talk. I think the great thing that you're talking about is the time investment, right? And in the creative world, you're investing time and working on your craft, and sometimes it feels like it's going nowhere, right? But as you start to build those connections and that network, how have collaborations helped you in your profession?
They have done like you never know. Like one of my favorite aspects of the whole music industry thing is a lot of those interns. So when you get into these situations, usually the interns are the ones that's like, you need some water or whatever. And now that you're in a new city, you're like, all right, this person's young, hip. We're like, yo, where's a good bar to go to or something? Then they take you somewhere, and then you get to meet them completely unhinged. Drugs, drinks, all that stuff. And they're just like, you bond through that, right? And then let's say you leave like 4 years later, they're the ones flying you out because they done worked their way up to a higher position. So then it's just like, yo, I seen that so many times where all the grunts became the execs. Like Ashley Calhoun, she's from First Colonial, and she is like, I don't want to mispronounce, but I think she's like the president of Pulse, and they're like one of the leading pubs right now. And she's only like 36, 37 or something. So, and like just see that from Virginia Beach, and I'm just running into her in LA, the journey, meeting her there, and then seeing that to where, you know, just catching people on their way, and then like keeping that relationship to where it just strengthens, like, you know what I mean?
Questions?
I loved what you said about there's something in the soil here and that everybody's like ore or gems, right? I'm not from Virginia Beach, but have seen that firsthand over the years that I've been here. What do you think it is about the Virginia Beach soil that makes people like that here?
I feel like it's because they're unrealized. It's like it's time to even develop into like something potent, to be more diverse. Because usually people have to do so many things and technically failed at it, but not really technically failed at it. They just gained a whole, you know, branch of wisdom and skills, but they just went and got another one. And then like, now it's like these spiky people all over the place because they done all these. And then it's like, that makes them diverse because it's just like they wasn't picked too early. You know what I mean? Like in LA, I always see it like, in LA, as soon as you can hit a note, somebody's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sign you. Because their reality in LA is somebody's passed up on somebody sleeping on the couch, and that person from the couch has passed them in a Lamborghini a week later because they blew up. So then when you go out there, Virginians go out there like a big pumpkin instead of a little, you know what I mean? They pick little oranges, but we come in there rolling our pumpkin ass up in there, not even realizing how dope and big we are, and they be like, oh my God, I got a pumpkin, but they don't know it. They be like, oh yeah, you all right, man, you know, I'm gonna put you on. And then we don't even know, like, oh, I guess. And we this big old pumpkin out there. Because it's just like we wasn't picked, we won't harvest it. So like when you see somebody out here that's been getting beat up all their lives, it's just like that experience is there. And then all they need to do is just be put in like one situation, and we're so polished to even create something out of nothing that we don't need much. So it's just like people see that and they're like, what y'all been doing out there? And all we need is opportunity. All we need is some rain.
Great. Question in the back? Yeah. Oh, Robbie.
All right, so one of the things I've always appreciated about you is what I would consider this like unflinching abundance mindset, to use your words, right? This idea of creatives in a community, you know, it might feel too easy to feel that scarcity mindset, right? Like you got to get yours, you got to get yours, you got to get yours. But I feel like you've always had a different approach that was much more, we all win, there's so much opportunity, the abundance mindset. You know, can you elaborate on that as it applies to this area, to Virginia, like how you've either rode those waves of abundance mindsets or seen the opposite at work in a negative way, perhaps?
That's a good question.
I look at it like it's when you say abundance, it's room for all of us, man. We just like, when you think about the world and actual like time, like I look at time like superseding what time is, as far as you could do something now that is like more important later on in your life. Like I don't know how to explain that part, but it's all of us versus us, not versus them. It's us that's holding ourselves back if we don't act on thinking bigger than this. You know what I mean? We gotta like stretch out and be seen. Like yes, this is important to be aware here, But if we're worried about what's going on like right here, then, you know, we're not doing our max potential. Like, that's why I always say, like, it's abundant. I don't talk to people here about doing great here. I talk about doing great in the planet. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just like, it's abundant. It's just like, and mind you, I said, it's just like, it's unrealized, you know, resources. It's just like it's sleeping giants out here. There's sleep giants. Like stand up and go step on some cities. And that's what it's really what it's about. Like, so that's why I always felt like it was abundant. Because I'm like, yo, it's the whole planet to swim around. Like, we ain't hanging out in no Rudy Inlet. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Hillary?
I just want to say thank you so much for sharing that idea that more is more. More is not less. I grew up here. I left for 20 years because it seemed like nobody was getting picked. You know, we were all turning into pumpkins and nobody's getting picked. So I went to New York, and that was where I had my experience with the idea of collective economy or collaborative economy, and came back, and some of the people in this room have heard me say this before with our nonprofits, that there's if you ask for more, more will come, not less. If there's more for you, then maybe you're paying somebody else. Your producer was looking out for you. There's one check, but you're still getting your cut. You know, that kind of idea. That collaborative economy is much more powerful than competitive economy. And I really appreciate you reinforcing that message in the arts community, and especially here today. And for those people that struggle to embrace that or realize what is the first step to being unafraid to think that way, I guess, and I think you sort of started to hit on it with the idea of stop thinking linearly. If you're only thinking in a straight line, then you're not seeing what's out to the other side. So five-dimensional thinking kind of bleeds into fostering collaborative economy. But what's the first step for somebody that might be, or an organization that might be struggling with embracing collaborative economy as a mindset? What do you do to self-jump out and have that for others?
I mean, first is to just jump out. Like, literally, like, I look at a lot of things in my life from early lessons of learning how to swim. Like, my dad would just grab me by the arm and chuck me in the middle of the pool. Like, that literally was just instinct. Like, that's how I look at everything I do now, where I'm going to just dive in there. Like, I remember being in fourth grade, and I was like shy, and I hate being shy. So I used to just blurt out some, like, get the attention and deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, training myself to deal with all this anxiety and eyes and stuff. I'm like, but I just had to just dive out there, just jump in. You know what I'm saying? So I would always encourage somebody like that is just go out there and meet people. Go to events by yourself. Like, go dolo and meet somebody, and like just be like very vigilant on just like making any kind of thought that is like an excuse to not do it. Be vigilant to eradicate it, and just like this might be a night that changes my life every night. And like when you say being the pumpkin in this land, like we got the opportunity to be the pumpkin patch. Like, come and get a pumpkin instead of going out there and everybody like, where'd that pumpkin come from? Doesn't matter, I bought it. You know what I'm saying? They gatekeeping your ass. You out here like.
Gatekeeping. All right, last question. Did you have one, Tessa? No? Yeah.
Okay, this is from Garrett. What does it mean to put a battery on a kid's back the way you said your mom did? How can we as a creative community do that for other people?
Pop that battery in, charge it up, right?
Yeah, that was like the source of my superpower. That was like the spider that bit me. Because my mom like my mom saying, like, my name is Gabriel, and it's named after Angel Gabriel, and he blows the horn and stuff like that. I remember my first beat. I let my mom hear my first beat, and it was such a journey. By the way, like back in the day, I made beats that just keep going and changing. My mom sat there with these little headphones the whole time like this. She listened to it, her eyes closed, and then by the end of the beat, she took it down and she gave me a scripture about one of the apostles go up to heaven and they saw things with their heart and they didn't hear sound with their ears, they heard it with their soul. And she's like, that's why I named you Gabriel, and the world's gonna hear that. So of course, man, I'm like, man, nobody in the world can tell me nothing now. This is what I'm supposed to do. Nobody can tell me anything. Like my mom gave me that and said that, and I'm like, I got the battery that ain't ever gonna die. Like, so, find your battery, find your purpose. And sometimes, like I said, that could come from a loved one, a hated one, a traumatic situation, something that you know for sure that you're special. Like, find your special, find your purpose, your calling, why you're doing it, why you're here. Just do it, like, for real.
Thank you, Gabe. We want to thank Adobe, the global creative partner behind Creative Mornings, and also the City of Virginia Beach and our Arts and Humanities Commission that helps fund all the things in the Vibe District all year round. So thank you to all that. Please join us outside. We're going to run out and take a photo, and then you can get on with your day. Thank you.